ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا ولي العافية نسألك العافية، عافية الدين والدنيا والآخرة، بجاه محمد وإترته الطاهرة. يا رب الحجة أسألك الحجة. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر، الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. محمد وآل محمد صلوات. કાલે બપોરે ઇન્શાલ્લાહ ઝોર અસરની નમાઝ જમાતની પરાશે ઇન્શાલ્લાહ. محمد وآل محمد salawat. Inshallah, tomorrow afternoon, Zohar Asr will be prayed at Jamaat here in Stanmore. Inshallah, you're all welcome.
أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إني أسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك والنجاة من النار ومن كل بلية والفوز بالجنة ورضوان في دار السلام وجوار نبيك محمد عليه وآله السلام. اللهم ما بنا من نعمة فمنك لا إله إلا أنت. أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.
استغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا حجة الله. أشهد أن أمير المؤمنين وإمام المتقين عليا ولي الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير العمل حي على خير العمل. قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. أستغفر الله ربي من كل ذنب وأتوب إليه. يا محسن الله أكبر
الله أكبر.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنا أنزلناه في ليلة القدر وما أدراك ما ليلة القدر. ليلة القدر خير من 1000 شهر. تنزل الملائكة والروح فيها بإذن ربهم من كل أمر. سلام هي حتى مطلع الفجر. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، الرحمن الرحيم، مالك يوم الدين، إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين، اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. كذلك الله ربنا. الله أكبر. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات الأحياء منهم والأموات، تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات، إنك مجيب الدعوات، إنك على كل شيء قدير. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. الحمد لله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وتقبل شفاعته وارفع درجته. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. بحول الله وقوته أقوم وأقعد. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي العظيم وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. الله أكبر. أستغفر الله ربي وأتوب إليه. الله أكبر. سبحان ربي الأعلى وبحمد ربي صل على محمد وآل محمد. يا ولي العافية نسألك العافية، عافية الدين والدنيا والآخرة، بجاه محمد وإترته الطاهرة. يا رب الحجة أسألك الحجة. الله أكبر. بسم الله وبالله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. محمد وآل محمد صلوات. بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم. بحق ابوالفضل عباس. આપણામાં જે ભાઈઓ બહેનો બચ્ચાઓ બીમાર હોય આપણે દુઆ કરે કે અલ્લાહ લોકો બધાને શફા દે, બધાની તકલીફો દૂર થાય. આપણા આલિમો મરજા મોમિનીન ને મોમિનાત દુનિયામાં જ્યાં બી હોય, યા અલ્લાહ તું આ લોકોને હિફ્ઝો અમાનમાં રાખ, અમારી બધી હાજતો પૂરી કર, અમારા ઇલ્મમાં વધારું કર. એવી દુઆ સાથે આપણે બધા સાથે 5 ફેરે અમ્મન યુજીબુ પડીએ. औज़ु बिल्लाहि मिनश शैतानिर रजीम. बिस्मिल्लाहिर रहमानिर रहीम. अम्मन युजीबुल मुस्तर्रा इज़ा दआहु व यक्शिफु सू. 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 सूरह फातिहा शिफाउल मर्ज़ व दफ़्निल बला.
أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. أستغفر الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم الرحمن الرحيم ذو الجلال والإكرام وأتوب إليك. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم إنه ليس لي علم بموضع رزقي، وإنما أطلبه بخطرات تخطر على قلبي، فأجول في طلبه البلدان فأنا فيما أنا طالب كالخيران لا أدري أفي سهل هو أم في جبل أم في أرض أم في سماء أم في بر أم في بحر وعلى يدي من ومن قبل من وقد علمت أن علمه عندك وأسبابه بيدك وأنت الذي تقسمه بلطفك وتسببه برحمتك اللهم فصل على محمد وآله واجعل يا ربي رزقك لي واسعا ومطلبه سهلا ومأخذه قريبا ولا تؤنني بطلب ما لم تقدر لي فيه رزقا فإنك غني عن عذابي وأنا فقير إلى رحمتك فصل على محمد وآله وجد على عبدك بفضلك إنك ذو فضل عظيم.
السلام عليك يا سيدي يا مولاي يا رسول الله. السلام عليك يا سيدي يا نبي الله يا محمد يا حبيب الله. وعلى زوجتك الوفية الغراء خديجة الكبرى أم المؤمنين والمؤمنات، وعلى بضعتك المظلومة الصديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى أخيك ووليك ووصيك وخليفتك من بعدك علي أمير المؤمنين وابنيك الإمامين الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة أجمعين، وعلى التسعة المعصومين من ذرية الحسين علي السجاد ومحمد الباقر وجعفر الصادق وموسى الكاظم وعلي بن موسى الرضا. السلام عليك يا مولاتي يا فاطمة المعصومة، اشفعي لنا في الجنة فإن لك عند الله شأنا من الشأن. السلام على محمد بن علي التقي الجواد، السلام على علي بن محمد النقي الهادي، السلام على الحسن بن علي الزكي العسكري. السلام عليك يا مولاي يا صاحب العصر والزمان، عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك. والسلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قد أفلح المؤمنون. قد أفلح المؤمنون الذين هم في صلاتهم خاشعون والذين هم عن اللغو معرضون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم للزكاة فاعلون والذين هم لفروجهم حافظون إلا على أزواجهم أو ما ملكت أيمانهم فإنهم غير ملومين. فمن ابتغى وراء ذلك فأولئك هم العادون والذين هم لأماناتهم وعهدهم راعون والذين هم على صلواتهم يحافظون أولئك هم الوارثون الذين يرثون الفردوس هم فيها خالدون. ولقد خلقنا الإنسان من سلالة من طين ثم جعلناه نطفة في قرار مكين ثم خلقنا النطفة علقة فخلقنا العلقة مضغة فخلقنا المضغة عظاما فكسونا العظام لحما ثم أنشأناه خلقا آخر فتبارك الله أحسن الخالقين. ثم إنكم بعد ذلك لميتون ثم إنكم يوم القيامة تبعثون ولقد خلقنا فوقكم سبع طرائق ولقد خلقنا فوقكم سبع طرائق وما كنا عن الخلق غافلين. صدق الله العلي العظيم. رحم الله من يقرأ سورة المباركة الفاتحة.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عن جابر بن عبد الله الأنصاري أنه قال عن فاطمة الزهراء عليها السلام بنت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله قال: سمعت فاطمة أنها قالت: دخل علي أبي رسول الله في بعض الأيام فقال: السلام عليك يا فاطمة. فقلت: عليك السلام. قال: إني أجد في بدني ضعفا. فقلت له: أعيذك بالله يا أبتاه من الضعف. فقال: يا فاطمة ائتيني بالكساء اليماني فغطيني به. فأتيته بالكساء اليماني فغطيته به وصرت أنظر إليه وإذا وجهه يتلألأ كأنه البدر في ليلة تمامه وكماله. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسن عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: عليك السلام يا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال: يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم إن جدك تحت الكساء. فأقبل الحسن نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أدخل معك تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا صاحب حوضي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معه تحت الكساء. فما كانت إلا ساعة وإذا بولدي الحسين عليه السلام قد أقبل وقال: السلام عليك يا أماه. فقلت: عليك السلام يا ولدي ويا قرة عيني وثمرة فؤادي. فقال لي: يا أماه إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة جدي رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله. فقلت: نعم إن جدك وأخاك تحت الكساء. فدنا الحسين نحو الكساء وقال: السلام عليك يا جداه، السلام عليك يا من اختاره الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكما تحت الكساء؟ فقال: وعليك السلام يا ولدي ويا شافع أمتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل معهما تحت الكساء. فأقبل عند ذلك أبو الحسن علي بن أبي طالب وقال: السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله. فقلت: وعليك السلام يا أبا الحسن ويا أمير المؤمنين. فقال يا فاطمة إني أشم عندك رائحة طيبة كأنها رائحة أخي وابن عمي رسول الله. فقلت نعم، ها هو مع ولديك تحت الكساء. فأقبل علي نحو الكساء وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال له عليك السلام يا أخي ويا وصي وخليفتي وصاحب لوائي، قد أذنت لك. فدخل علي تحت الكساء. ثم أتيت نحو الكساء وقلت السلام عليك يا أبتاه يا رسول الله، أتأذن لي أن أكون معكم تحت الكساء؟ قال وعليك السلام يا بنتي ويا بضعتي، قد أذنت لك. فدخلت تحت الكساء. فلما اكتملنا جميعا تحت الكساء أخذ أبي رسول الله بطرفي الكساء وأومأ بيده اليمنى إلى السماء وقال اللهم إن هؤلاء أهل بيتي وخاصتي وحامتي، لحمهم لحمي ودمهم دمي، يؤلمني ما يؤلمهم ويحزنني ما يحزنهم. حرب لمن حاربهم وسلم لمن سالمهم وعدو لمن عاداهم ومحب لمن أحبهم، إنهم مني وأنا منهم. فاجعل صلواتك وبركاتك ورحمتك وغفرانك ورضوانك علي وعليهم، وأذهب عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. فقال الله عز وجل يا ملائكتي ويا سكان سماواتي، إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئة ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا في محبة هؤلاء الخمسة الذين هم تحت الكساء. فقال الأمين جبرائيل يا رب ومن تحت الكساء؟ فقال عز وجل هم أهل بيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة، هم فاطمة وأبوها وبعلها وبنوها. فقال جبرائيل يا رب أتأذن لي أن أهبط إلى الأرض لأكون معهم سادسا؟ فقال الله نعم قد أذنت لك. فهبط الأمين جبرائيل وقال السلام عليك يا رسول الله، العلي الأعلى يقرئك السلام ويخصك بالتحية والإكرام ويقول لك وعزتي وجلالي إني ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا مدحية ولا قمرا منيرا ولا شمسا مضيئا ولا فلكا يدور ولا بحرا يجري ولا فلكا يسري إلا لأجلكم ومحبتكم، وقد أذنني أن أدخل معكم فهل تأذن لي يا رسول الله؟ فقال رسول الله وعليك السلام يا أمين وحي الله إنه نعم قد أذنت لك. فدخل جبرائيل معنا تحت الكساء. فقال لأبي إن الله قد أوحى إليكم يقول إنما يريد الله ليذهب عنكم الرجس أهل البيت ويطهركم تطهيرا. فقال علي عليه السلام لأبي يا رسول الله أخبرني ما لجلوسنا هذا تحت الكساء من الفضل عند الله. فقال النبي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، إلا ونزلت عليهم الرحمة وحفت بهم الملائكة واستغفرت لهم إلى أن يتفرقوا. فقال علي: إذا والله فزنا وفاز شيعتنا ورب الكعبة. فقال النبي ثانيا: يا علي والذي بعثني بالحق نبيا واصطفاني بالرسالة نجيا، ما ذكر خبرنا هذا في محفل من محافل أهل الأرض، وفيه جمع من شيعتنا ومحبينا، وفيهم مهموم إلا وفرج الله هما، ولا مغموم إلا وكشف الله غما، ولا طالب حاجة إلا وقضى الله حاجة. فقال علي عليه السلام: إذا والله فزنا وسعدنا، وكذلك شيعتنا فازوا وسعدوا في الدنيا والآخرة ورب الكعبة.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Before we continue, can I request you all to move forward and to your right with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Thank you very much. Let's keep moving forward and towards your right, please. Aflaha man salla ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Shukran. We will continue the program with the qasida by Brother Asif Parpia. Can we please welcome him with a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
نعرے تکبیر، نعرے رسالت، نعرے حیدری، برائے خوشنودی ابو الفضل العباس، بلند تر صلوات اللہ صلی وفا جس کا پر ہے کلمہ اسے عباس کہتے ہیں، وفا جس کا پر ہے کلمہ اسے عباس کہتے ہیں، جسے سجدے کریں سجدہ اسے عباس کہتے ہیں، وہ پیاسا پیاس نے جس کی کیا سیراب دریا کو، وہ پیاسا پیاس نے جس کی کیا سیراب دریا کو، ہے جس کی پیاس بھی دریا اسے عباس کہتے ہیں، لگا دے جو بغیر تیغ کی انبار لاشوں کے جو ہے پیکر شجاعت کا اسے عباس کہتے ہیں، وفا جس کا پڑھے کلمہ اسے عباس کہتے ہیں، جو ہے شبیر کی قوت علی کو ناز ہے جس پر، جو ہے شبیر کی قوت علی کو ناز ہے جس پر، جسے زہرا کہیں بیٹا یا اللہ، اسے عباس کہتے ہیں، علی کا خون زہرا کی دعا حسنین کی چاہت، بنے ان سب سے جو مل کر اسے عباس کہتے، اٹھے طوفان چلے آندھی زمین گردش کرے پھر بھی، اٹھے طوفان چلے آندھی زمین گردش کرے پھر بھی، رہے اونچا علم جس کا اسے عباس کہتے، جو تھا شبیر کا خادم مگر سب صاحبان دل، جو تھا شبیر کا خادم مگر سب صاحبان دل، اسے آقا اسے مولا اسے عباس کہتے ہیں، وفا جس کا پڑھے کلمہ اسے عباس کہے، محمد وآل محمد صلوات.
Ahsant. Before we continue, if I could please request you once again to move forward and to your right with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Jazakallah. As we are moving forward, we can call upon Sheikh Shanawaz to deliver our lecture today on the Wiladat of Hazrat Abbas alayhi salam with the loudest of your salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. Before I commence, even before I wish all of you after my khutbah, I firmly believe that more so in the time of rejoicement and enjoyment and happiness, we need to remember all our marhumin. And this community, when I mean not just community as Stanmore, but the Khoja community and all those individuals associated with our centers have lost quite a few individuals and gems of the community. We ourselves have witnessed very recently so many janazas over here, jewels of a community, and it would be very unfair that at the time when we sit over here to rejoice, we forget them. So that is one point. Point number two, we also have a very hazeen event that has taken place in Peshawar. With so many of our Mu'min brothers, the Mu'mineen specifically, primarily their main crime being the love of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam. And so we need to remember all of them in this very Babarakat night. May I request all of us to join our hands and remember them with the Surah Al-Fatiha. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين بارئ الخلائق أجمعين ثم الصلاة والسلام والتحية والإكرام على خاتم النبيين وسيد المرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما على الإمام المنتظر وحجة الله الثاني عشر ابن العسكري المنتظر ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه الكريم القرآن الحكيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإذا حييتم بتحية فحيوا بأحسن منها أو ردوها إن الله كان على كل شيء حسيبا. صلوات. Allow me to now extend my sincere tabrikat and mubarakis to all of you. More specifically on tonight's night, the night of the Wiladat of that personality that all of us very, very fondly remember, more by his title of Abul Fadl, the great son of Ali ibn Abi Talib, Hazrat Abul Fadl al-Abbas, Babul Hawaid, salawatullahi wa salamuhu alayhi. And just because I'm not with you or in terms of the recitations in the previous night and the forthcoming night does not mean that I do not have the authority or the flexibility to wish you. So allow me to again wish you on the occasion of the Wiladat of the third Imam, Imam Hussain ibn Ali, and the forthcoming Wiladat of the fourth Imam, Imam Sajjad alayhi salatu wassalam. The initial sentence when I spoke of reciting Fatiha for the others was primarily with the purpose to highlight that I started the Majlis at 7:02. So I've got my 55 minutes starting from 7:02. I got 2 minutes more. As is appropriate and as is munasab, that we need to speak about the personality for whom we have gathered over here. A personality who, and I always say this, and I usually say this on the 8th night, that we don't know what this personality of Abul Fadl is. He's got a kashish, he's got an attraction that cannot be explained. It just transcends all sections of the community. Everybody just waits for a munasabat related to Abul Fadl. But before we go into the fadail, it is also very important to understand a few things with regards to our community and our religion. And let me quickly start over here. A lot of things will be going very quickly because few very important messages that need to be conveyed. And the lead up will take up to that final portion when I would then focus solely on Abul Fadl alayhi salam. See, the term Islam refers to, as it is said in Arabic, al-Islam huwa taslim. It means submission. Submission to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just a little introduction before I take you into the main discussion. Islam means taslim. Taslim means submission. Submission to everything that God identifies and ordains for us. It could either be in the form of the rulings of Islam, the Shariat, the halal and the harams, or it could be in the form of the events that take place in our lives. Somebody passing away, somebody falling sick. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. And when we say al-Islam huwa taslim, means submission to the will of God without any objection. As it is said in Persian, without chara. Everything that God has identified for us, we have to submit to His will, to His commands, to His decrees, to His will, without any objection. And the reason I say this is that in numerous times in our community, we see events having taken place, or we see discussions taking place when people are seen to be objecting to Islam, certain rulings of Islam. So whether they are rulings of fiqh, or whether they are the rulings of God with respect to a person's life. Let me give you a couple of examples and we move very quickly. How many times have we not heard that people claim themselves, I'm Muslim, I'm mu'min, but when it comes to discussions, a very common discussion, that is the bulugh of a girl, of a female, 9 years as opposed to 15 years. And we find people when they're discussing, immediately any Tom, Dick and Harry comes up and says, oh, I don't think year 9 is a proper age for a girl to become baligh as opposed to 9 years, 15 years for a boy who becomes baligh. It is too low. I don't think it is appropriate. I don't think it is right. There has to be a different interpretation of Islam. But God has willed something. The Maraji over 1200 years after the Ghaibat-e-Sughra of Imam Zamana Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. All of them have said 9 years. This person comes and says, that is the opinion of God. I have got a counter opinion. Meaning what? When do you put a counter opinion? You put a counter opinion when you don't approve of an opinion that is before you. It is only then you put a counter opinion. What it means is that God has said 9 years, I'm objecting to it. This does not move with the ruh and the essence of taslim. Or take the issue of, for example, somebody dies in the community or family. And all along we keep hearing, people say, Abo khotu thiyu, barabar na thiyu. Barabar na thiyu etle su. What? You mean to say that God has identified or decreed this person's death? It is not right. Oh, Abo nanu hatu, any puri jindagi same hati. He died such a young that he had the whole life before him. And so because his life was curtailed, he didn't live for 90 years of age, you think what has happened is wrong?
God, who Riwayat say, metaphorically speaking, loves his creation 70 times more than the love of a mother for the child. He decrees the death of an individual according to his wisdom. And I want to stand up and say, God, what you are doing, in my opinion, is not correct. Abu Nani Umar Machalyagu, he passed away at a very young age. So just because he passes away at a very young age, I've got a right to object to God? In that case, I would turn to you and say, what happened to 18 years of Hazrat Zahra salamullahi alayha? We've never heard, we've never read, we've never even envisaged any of the Masoom complaining to God that Bibi died at the age of 18. Bonani Umar ma chalya gaya. She should have been given some more time. But this is where the ruh of taslim comes. You accept whatever has been given by God, either in terms of the rulings of fiqh or what He has decreed in our lives. That is taslim. Having understood that, we need to move forward. And the forward is this. What is the main reason that people object? And I'm taking you to some place because the message needs to be conveyed. Abul Fadl, Fadail, yes. But only Fadail without realizing what he stood for on Karbala for Imam Hussein is meaningless. The two main reasons, and I'm running very quickly, this could be probably spread out over 2 lectures, but we don't have time. Today we've got to finish. The two main reasons why an individual is seen to object to the rulings of God. You have an opinion, I have an opinion. You put your opinion, I'm going to put my opinion. This is not rhythm bi qada'ihi wa tasliman li amri. This is not that. This is, you've got an opinion, I wish to present my opinion because I don't like your opinion. This is objection. This is not taslim. 2 reasons. 1, lack of knowledge of the actions and the criteria of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When man does not have knowledge, man does not know what is being done, for what purpose, he will object. Same thing happened when Imam Hussein left Makkah and Medina and Makkah for Karbala, for Kufa. People would come and say, don't go, don't go, don't go. Why? Hussein in his mind is saying, you don't know what is happening. You are telling me I'm going to be killed as if I didn't know. You want to tell me don't take my children and the women folk as if I didn't know. From Azal, that the time even Adam was created, I knew what was going to happen. You're telling me now? Because people don't know the object. Let me give you an example. The reason why I say this is that all the acts of God are based on asrar. Asrar is the plural of sir. Sir means secret. There are secrets involved in whatever God does. Those secrets we have no knowledge of, and hence we object. These secrets, there are individuals who have knowledge of, they say, Ridam bi qada'ihi wa tasliman li amri. Because we don't know, we object. Those who know, they say, we will put our head down. Let my head be severed in the final sajda. So let me give you an example to explain to you how when you don't have knowledge, you begin to object. Hazrat Musa alayhi salam, once he was on his journey. His journey took him to a very mountainous terrain. As he was going through the valley, he passed by a spring, a source of water. Having traveled a long distance, he says, let me have some water. I will rest myself, then engage myself in the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he comes to the river, washes his flesh, drinks some water, goes into the corner, concealed in isolation, begins to do his worship. As he is doing his mashghul and his ibadat, he sees an incident taking place, and pay careful attention how the asrar of God works. He sees a person, a young man sitting on horseback. You could see that man was affluent, on a good horse. He comes to the spring, sees the spring, looks tired, gets down. He's got a sword, he's got a bag, he's got full on. He comes down, to drink the water. He comes down, he goes to the river, to the spring. As he's going, because he's got a lot of things on his body, he slowly starts taking them off. So the sword comes off, the shield comes off, the bag comes off, the XYZ comes off. One of the things that he takes out is a pouch of coins, money. Puts it in the ground. Goes, Musa's watching. He goes, freshens up, drinks the water, full on, looks around, very comfortable environment. It's all right, time to go. He picks up everything. Goes on to, sits on his horse and away. What he did forget was the pouch of money. Goes away. Nabi Musa is watching. Not a very long time had passed when over there came a young shepherd comes to the river, drinks the spring, drinks the water, is about, with his animals, about to go. His eyes fall into the pouch of coins. Opens it, money, looks around, left, nobody, right, nobody. So what do? Puts it into his pocket and goes away. Musa is watching. A short while later, an old man comes, a woodcutter, old, frail man, wood on his head, having cut wood in the vicinity of the valley of the mountainous terrain. He comes down, puts his firewood at one place, goes to the river, washes his hands, drinks some water, goes to the side near the tree, begins to rest, puts his head down and goes off to sleep. Musa is watching. All of a sudden, Musa sees that person on horseback come back to the river. Realize that my money pouch, I forgot to take it back. Now he's looking. Pouch is nowhere to be seen. This old man is seen. Now what would happen? Tell me. What would you feel? My pouch I had forgotten. The pouch is not to be seen. I'm seeing a person over there. The first reaction is go and wake him up. Where is my pouch? He wakes up and says, what are you talking about? He says, where is my pouch of money? He says, I don't know. He says, there's nobody. I know I had kept it over here. I know I had forgotten. I know now that it's not there, and you're the only person. He says, I've not taken. Anyway, to cut matters short, the conversation took a very shadid tone. And words transferred and changed into actions. And they began to beat each other up in the melee. This young man knocks the old man, the man dies. Man dies, this person sees the man is dead. No money, so goes onto the horse, goes away. Hazrat Musa is watching all this. All of a sudden he turns to God and says, Rabbi, كيف العدل في هذه الأمور? What is your adalat in this act that I've seen? There's a reason why he's used the word كيف العدل في هذه الأمور. Where is your adalat in this entire scenario? And the reason is that if I were to ask you a question now, what is that one fundamental characteristic, one fundamental attribute, one fundamental sifat of Allah that you feel is the most prominent sifat on the basis of which He acts and He performs His will? One sifat. What would your answer be? The majority of you would be saying rahmat. The rahmat of God. Arhamar Rahimeen. So many surah, the du'as say that. 114 times the surah start with Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. All of us know Surah Tawbah, Surah Nal, we don't want to explain that. 114 surahs, 114 times Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Wasi'at rahmati kulla shay. My rahmat encompasses everything. So what the immediate reaction is the rahmat of God that dictates and controls all the decrees of God. Wrong. The de facto, the default mode that God goes into, that Allah goes into when He's delivering a decree and a dictate on any event is adalat, not rahmat. Rahmat comes afterwards. Understand this is not the time to talk about it. But rahmat is a secondary sifat that comes. The primary sifat is adalat. On the day of mahshar, the first word that God will utter will be this. The first statements will be this. Al-Yawm Yawmul Adl. Today is the day of Adalat. Not a single individual who is an oppressor will move till he's made to account for the oppression he's done to the oppressed. Not a single oppressed person will move till he's been given compensation for the oppression that has been done to him. So Adalat is the fundamental principle. Then Rahmat comes in X, Y, Z. Some other time we will explain how this works. How Shafaat works. So here now the Nabi Musa is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Rabbi, kayf al-adl fi hadhihi al-umur? Where is your adalat? Which is supposed to be the de facto default mode. Wahi comes, Ya Nabi, Ya Musa. Says, listen, these are the asrar that I've got, that you at times don't have access to, even though you're ulul azm. He says, that old man who was killed by that man on horseback, some years ago, this old man had killed the person's father who was on the horseback. And he was not punished for his deeds. Today, because of this scenario, when he gets killed, the qisas of that killed person is now taken by the son. An eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. He killed this person's father, this person killed him. Ibn Muljam kills Amir al-Mu'mineen, Imam Hassan kills him. He says, what about the other one then? The money that was lost. He said, the money that was lost is not gone in vain. He says, how so? He says the father of the person on horseback owed exactly the same amount that was there in the pouch to the father of the shepherd boy. He had not given money to him by gusp. He was supposed to give him for some work. He did not give him. This adalat of mind comes into play. His money pouch is forgotten. That shepherd whose father was supposed to have received this amount from the horse person's father, now the son is inheriting what was supposed to be taken from the father because the father had died. The money that was lost comes back to the rightful owner. The person who was killed, the father, the son now takes qisas. This is how my adalat works. Asrar of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now somebody like us, when we are watching this, we say, where is the hikmah? Where is the adalat? Where is the justice? This is all nonsense. Somebody comes, somebody loses a pouch, somebody else gets killed, somebody picks up the money, somebody loses the money. There is no adalat. But God says, my asrar only I know. When I work, I know how to work. Because we don't know, we object. So one reason why we object is because of lack of knowledge. The second time we object is when we try to impose our criteria that we use in our daily lives onto what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does. When we use our criteria on the acts of Allah, then automatically our mouths will come up in objection. Because our criteria are different from what Allah's criteria are. Listen to this. Because it's easier to understand by events. We have a certain set of criteria that we've adopted for ourselves in the human life. But God works on a different level. When our criteria don't match with His, we begin to object. In the time of the sixth Imam, there was a businessman. He goes for a journey. Listen, Abba, we need to know. He goes on a business trip. Before embarking on the business trip, he takes out istikhara. Everybody takes out istikhara. The istikhara comes out bad. But the project was looking so valuable, he was seeing there was a benefit in it, that he decided to violate the istikhara. Istikhara says, don't go. He says, I'm seeing a lot of profit in this. He violates the istikhara. It's not wajib to act upon the istikhara. To violate an istikhara is not haram. No wajib, not haram. If you violate, you will not be punished. It's an advisory of Allah, whether we choose to follow it or we don't choose to follow it. He decides to violate it. Istikhara comes out bad, he goes on a business trip. He goes on a business trip. When he comes back, that business trip was super successful. The amount of riches that he gained was beyond imagination. He comes back home, now quandary. I took out istikhara whether I should go. Istikhara came out, don't go. I violated, I go, I come back, such a lot of money. How? Criteria was what? Riches. Criteria was what? Success in terms of wealth. I got my wealth. How did the istikhara come out wrong? How did the istikhara come out bad? And if it did come out bad, how did I make money? Goes to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Says, Yabna Rasulullah, this was the situation. If the istikhara came out bad, how did I make so much money? Riwayat says, Imam smiles. Says, you have used your criteria on an act which is different from the criteria used by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Says, what do you mean? He says, Fulan, you remember when you were going on your journey, you've reached a certain place after several days of travel? He says, yes. He said, that particular day was a very harsh one. The terrain was not good. It was very hot. It was very disturbing. You were very physically tired. He says, yes. He says, what happened that night when you slept? He says, no, I don't recall. He says, I'll tell you. Who? The sixth Imam is saying. He says, I'll tell you. He says, what? He says, that night you slept so heavily that your namaz al-subh became qada. He says, yes, I remember. That namaz al-subh became qada, but I immediately, when I got up, I saw that the sun had risen. I immediately offered my qada prayers. I finished it off. The sixth Imam is saying, Ajaba, the criteria of man different from the criteria of God. The sixth Imam is saying, if Allah were to give you everything on this earth in terms of its riches to you, it would not compensate for the detriment that you have faced spiritually by losing one namaz as qada. If he were to give you all the riches in the world, it would not compensate for the harm that you have done spiritually by missing one namaz subh as qada. This namaz subh of qada was so important in the eyes of God that his criteria was, my servant should not miss out the namaz subh, so that he misses out on that intense spirituality. He goes into a reverse mode because that was too big in comparison to the material wealth. And in order to prevent him from missing one namaz subh as qada, God says, don't go. Says your criteria of success is wealth. God's criteria was success, that you should not have your namaz subh as qada. And that is why we've got that Arific Kamil, that we need to know about these individuals. Ayatollah Hasan Ali Nukhodki Isfahani. That man, sometimes we will tell you, he had control over the jinn, he had control over the insects, he had control over X, Y, Z. He would sit in Mashhad and he would ordain the insects in the outskirts of Medina not to touch and hurt anybody's crops. This sometimes we will tell you. But this Ayatollah Hasan Ali Nukhodki has gone on record to have stated. He says, if an individual works and strives in his ibadat, du'as, ziyarat, tasbih, namaz for 40 days, and after 40 days he misses out one namaz subh becomes qada, the 40 days of ibadat goes to waste. Goes to waste means what? It doesn't become null and void, but the spiritual rank that this person had traveled after 40 days of ijtihad and jidd or jihad, of dua and ziyarat and tasbih, by losing one namaz subh as qada, not that he's not prayed, qada, you come back below to the level what you were 40 days after having strived so much. One namaz subh, qada. In the Imam did not even say you missed out. He says, I prayed my namaz subh. He says, you missed namaz subh, even though you may have prayed qada. The detriment was so much that if Allah were to have given you all the riches in the world, it would not have compensated for the detriment that you faced. Criteria are different. And this is exactly the same when it comes to the Ahlulbayt. The Ahlulbayt. So we've understood, because we don't know, we object. Because our criteria are different from God's criteria, we object. The lesson over here is, whatever happens by God, you have to accept it. People die in our families, وَمَا رَأَيْتُ إِلَّا جَمِيلًا. Na kya bo khotu thayu. Over there, Ashra Zainab, we keep clamoring. Bibi Zainab, Bibi Zainab. Ma ra'aytu illa jamila, ma ra'aytu illa jamila. 72 people killed, 18 brothers killed, Hussein slaughtered. She says, I have not seen anything as beautiful except beauty. And I apni paase ek mayat thai and we start complaining. Ah, khotu thayu bana. What was that Ashra Zanabiyah for? You tell me. It's not hypocritical? Anyway, we're not over here for that. But the same thing goes with the Ahlul Bayt. They work on a different level. They work on the same levels at Allah, but at a different, obviously at a lower level than God. One of the things about them is that if you do something for them, they are family of Korama. Antumul Korama. Kareemum min awladil kiram. You recite Zarat Imam Zaman Ajjalallahu Ta'ala Faraj Sharif on Friday. Kareemun min awladil kiram. Oh Imam, you're Kareem from the awlad of Korama. Your forefathers are Kareem, generous, munificent, beneficent. When we do something for them, they return it back. Listen to this event, then I'm coming to a point. Very important point. Ayatollah Nahavandi, in the olden days, he was contemporaneous to Ayatollah Burujerdi. Who doesn't know Ayatollah Burujerdi? Who doesn't know? You go to Iran, you go to Masjid Azam, his maqbara, his qabr resides in between the haram of Bibi Masuma and the Masjid Azam. Yeah? Ayatollah Burujerdi, Sahib Karamat. Huh? There are numerous instances of his Karamat. Awliya of God. He used to be in Mashhad. He was a marja al-itlaq. Mutlaq during his time in entire Iran. Time in Qum, he used to give Dars Kharij, he used to teach the Mujtahideen, because he was a marja. Hawza Ta'til was a holiday. He leaves from Qum to come to Mashhad for ziyarat of Imam Rada alayhi salatu wassalam. Leaves Qum, comes to Mashhad. When people come to know, Ayatollah Burujerdi is there. It's like Ayatollah Sistani coming to Hujjat. Ayatollah Burujerdi. Now in the haram, as you know, in all the harams you have namaz jamaat. At times in the courtyard outside, at times inside the haram. In Mashhad there's a masjid called Masjid al-Gohar Shad. There's a small masjid. It's got a good history. When Imam Zamana comes, what will happen over there? And just for those who go for Iran, for ziyarat of Iran, just opposite Masjid al-Gohar Shad, there is a door that goes into the haram. That door is a specific feature. As you enter through the door, that is the only door to the haram that as you enter, you will see the very straight in front of you. Straight. Or if I've said, the majority of the time they've seen Imam Zamana enter the haram of Imam Rida al-Islam is through this door, opposite Masjid al-Gohar Shad. So I'm giving you the history. Next time when you go, you can take it up. In Masjid al-Gohar Shad, there is this namaz jamaat that is held. It's a masjid, namaz jamaat held. Ayatollah Nahavandi was the Imam jamaat of that place, of that masjid. So he would offer Maghrib and prayers jamaat. Ayatollah Burujerdi comes to the haram for ziyarat. Then after ziyarat, this is I will join the jamaat in Masjid al-Gohar Shad for namaz jamaat. But Ayatollah Nahavandi realizes Ayatollah Burujerdi. People tell him, Aga Burujerdi is sitting over there. He stands up. He says, Aga, you have to come over here. No, I cannot come. Aga, not only that you are a marja, you are a sayyid. You are from the family of Fatima and Ali. I can't sit. No, you are the Imam Ratib, you are the Imam over here, you should lead. He says, Aga, nothing doing. Marjayat on one side, the family of Fatima and Ali on one side. Over my dead body, I will lead the prayers. He forces him, Aga, you lead. He comes behind. Years he's been praying there. He says, no. If Aga Burujer is there, I will make him lead and I will pray behind him. Namaz finish. Khatam, khalas thegi story. Short while later, Ayatollah Nahavandi decides to go for ziyarat to Iraq. He goes to Iraq, goes to the haram of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Goes to the haram of Amirul Mu'mineen again. Inside namaz, outside namaz. He finishes it, goes at a time that ziyarat finish and it's touching namaz time, so he goes for jamaat. So he does the ziyarat, he comes, sees the jamaat is about to start up, goes and sits behind, incognito. Somebody goes and tells Imam Jamaat, Ayatollah Nahavandi has come. Somebody tells him, Ayatollah Nahavandi has come. See who tells him. All of a sudden people see Ayatollah, the person who's leading the Jamaat stands up, looks around, finds out Ayatollah Nahavandi, comes up, takes his hand and says, Aga, you need to lead the prayers. Listen, Says, Aga, you need to lead the prayers. Says, no, I'm an ordinary person. Says, no, Aga, I know you. I've been told that you should lead the prayers. I haven't told anybody. Says, no, I want you to lead. Over my dead body, full on. He goes and sits. He forces Ayatollah Nahavandi to lead the prayers. He goes in front. As he sits, he hears a voice coming from the Dari of Amirul Mu'mineen. He says, Ya Shaykh, akramta waladi fa akramtuk. You exhibited respect to my son, I am exhibiting respect to you. You allowed my son to lead the prayers in your mosque, I am allowing you to lead the prayers in my mosque. This is Ahlulbayt. This is the family, Kareemum min awlad al-kiram. And why I'm saying this is this, that we are at a very critical juncture over here at Hujjat, with a few days deadline for Harefield. All of us know we've outstripped these precincts. This cannot survive. This cannot go forward. It has to be taken to a new level. And we are doing this for this family. Masjid is the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Bargah is the house of the Masumeen alayhi wasallam. If we give the Masumeen something, not that they cannot do it, they've got Wiladat Takwiniyah. God has said, Abdi ati'ani hatta aj'alaka mathali. Ana aqulu li shay'in kun fayakun fa anta taqulu li shay'in kun fayakun. O my servants, be like me. O my servants, obey me to the best of your ability. Because if you do that, I will make you like me. Just as I say kun and it becomes fayakun, I will give you the power to say kun and it will become. These are those individuals whom God has given the power of kun fayakun. So if we help them in their house, rest assured, they are not going to take your ihsan and sit on the head. This is not a family that takes ihsan and keeps. Baba, one son was given a musalla in a mosque. He says, you come to my house, I will give you the mosque. And right now, they need funds. And always remember, and I keep saying this when I'm in Peterborough, if I tell you to do something, I will not tell you unless I've done it myself. I have personally donated it on Friday. So I'm asking you, go into your pockets, not for anybody else, not for anything else. You might want to pray for your marhumin, not a problem. But keep at the back of the mind, you're doing it for the son of Fatima to Zahra. And see what Bibi does on the Day of Judgment. You know why? Because in her happiness lies the happiness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In her anger lies the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you make her happy, rest assured, it's not going to go to waste. This is a message. Those who take it, those who take it, those who don't take it, don't take it. I've done my bit, I've donated, I've told you what is happening. But coming back to now the point, that the work of God is filled with asrar, sir, secrets and mysteries that we don't understand. One of the sir amongst the asrar of God is Abul Fadl Abbas. One of the secrets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Abul Fadl. You cannot comprehend who Abul Fadl is in his comparison, in his relation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. You cannot understand. Just as had Allah not explained to Nabi Musa what happened in that incident, Nabi Musa would not have known. Similarly, till he does not tell us on the Day of Judgment, we can only have a very faint understanding of the relationship of Abul Fadl and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Today I want to tell you just two things. Because these individuals, you cannot go to the depths of the greatness. You can just swim on the top and try to gain as much as possible. Just wet your fingers. They're beyond our comprehension, full comprehension. Whatever you get, you get. Whatever you take, something is better than nothing. One day, Amirul Mu'mineen was sitting with the Holy Prophet. Amirul Mu'mineen was sitting with the Holy Prophet. Prophet impromptu turns to Ali. Says, Ali, go to your house. Okay? Go and ask Fatima. Ajaba, this is. He says, go and ask Fatima, what has she got for herself for the shafa'at of my ummah on the Day of Judgment? All of a sudden, impromptu. But this is the mahram talk between them. It's been opened out so that people like you and me understand. Thoda qatra jo hai marifat ka hame bhi hasil ho jaye. Kahan apan ne madi jaye. Says, go and ask Fatima what? Now this ajab thing is, you know what? The Holy Prophet is alive. The Prophet passed away in the year 11 Hijri, correct? Bibi Fatima passed away in the year 11 Hijri, correct? So at the very latest, this could be in the year 11 Hijri. Correct? Because after that, the Prophet has passed. So whatever, it is sometime before 11 Hijri. Abbas is not born as yet, huh? Abbas is not born as yet. Abbas will come years later. Amirul Mu'mineen goes to the Holy Prophet, to his house, enters. Assalamu alaikum bint Rasulillah. Salam's formality is done. He says, the Holy Prophet has asked me to ask you, what do you have prepared for yourself on the Day of Judgment for the shafa'at of his ummah? Abbas is not born. Fatima is not gone. The Prophet is still alive. Karbala has surely not taken place. At that point of time, Fatima says, the two cut hands of Abbas is enough for me to do the shafa'at of the entire ummah. We don't need anything else. I don't need anything else. I don't need the head of Hussein. I don't need Muhsin in my hands. I just need two cut hands of Abbas, and that is enough to do the shafa'at of the entire ummah. I thought this is Fatima is saying this. She could have said, I can pray because my happiness is Allah's happiness. She says, no, that is again too much. Abbas's cut hands are enough. No. To understand that link between Allah and Abul Fadl, one incident, and I will be surely, inshallah, within my time limit. Listen to this incident so you know who this Abul Fadl is. Why is it that this man commands, not attracts? That word was probably a very misused word by me in the beginning. He commands, he demands love for himself and to the hearts of the mu'mineen. This incident has been narrated by Ayatollah Murtada, Sheikh Murtada Ashtiyani. Now, I'm not sure how many people have heard about Sheikh Murtada Ashtiyani, but Sheikh Murtada Ashtiyani was one of the leading scholars, a very ba'amal alim, who had dedicated his life into the political arena for the defense of Shiite Islam in Iran. In 1936, you need to go and listen to, and read the little history of Iran, certain portions. In 1936, Raza Khan is the father of Muhammad Raza, whom we call the Shah of Iran. At the time of Imam Khomeini, he was Muhammad Raza Shah. His father Raza Khan, both of them from the Pahlavi dynasty. The father कहता ना कि बाप सिर तो बेटा सवा सिर. Both of them. What he's done, you just need to read. One of the things that he did was, somewhere before 1936, he had a trip to Turkey, where that Mal'un Kemal Ataturk was there. You don't know what that Ataturk has done to the Islamic world, that man. You need to see what he's done. He was on a warpath against Islam. He was belligerent against Islam. Anything that had any semblance to religion needs to be taken out. I want to be a modern state. Hijab gone, religion gone, adhan gone, mosques become place for tourism, Arabic script removed, Arabic dates removed. Turkey becomes Islamic in name only. This man, Kemal Ataturk, he had an immense impression on Raza Khan. So when Raza Khan goes there, birds of a feather flock together, innit? So he goes over there, he says, oh my God, this is fantastic. I need to do that in Iran. One of the things Kemal Ataturk did in Turkey was, he says, hijab banned. I said, this is good. He comes back. Who? Raza Khan. Comes to Iran, January of 1936. He passes the ruling. Prohibition of hijab on the streets. What happened after that? Read it. How did Ayatollah Marashi Najafi opposed it? Mu'jiza that took place, karamat that took place at the hands of Ayatollah Marashi in Qum in opposition to this. Read it. Now is not the time. Otherwise I'll just go off course. Read it, how these ulama stood up. In opposition started in Qum and in Mashhad, because they were the two houses. In Mashhad, 8 individuals took it upon themselves, the top leaders, the top scholars in Mashhad. They wrote a letter to Raza Khan. You have to take this prohibition back. Ladies were not allowed to go on the street with hijab. They could not. Police would be on the road, they would pull out hijab from their heads. It was at this time that incident took place with the father of Ayatollah Sistani, Muhammad Baqir Sistani. Read that incident, how the mulaqat of Imam Zamana takes place with the father of Ayatollah Sistani. It was during this 7 years after 1936. 7 years, or a little bit more. What instance took place? Because of the prohibition of hijab, that Imam Zamana came and spoke to the father of Ayatollah Ali Hussaini Sistani Ewa Marja. That again, we don't have a time to go into it. But this prohibition of hijab that was there, he says no hijab. We don't want to have any hijab done. And so the prohibition comes in 1936. Now when this is going forward, Raza Khan says, okay, the hijab needs to go, and okay, I've lost track. Wait. Ya Ali Muhammad Salwa. Sallu ala Muhammadin wa ala Muhammad. If you give me a minute, I'm tending to grow old, so I keep forgetting. Yes, Ashtiyani, exactly. Ahsan, thank you. So 8 people, जो मोहसिन ने भूली जाऊँ चुबाना, શું કરે વાला, કાંઈ નથી કરી શકતા, મુસાફિર ભાઈ, Signs of. Shows we are fallible, no? It's okay, doesn't matter. Out of 8 people, 8 ulama from Mashhad gathered together. They wrote to Raza Khan, you have to take back the prohibition. 1 out of this 8 was Ayatollah Murtaza Ashtiani. When this incident took place, and very running forward, they all gathered together as a group in Masjid al-Gohar. Shah comes to know that they've gathered in Gohar. He sets an army. They enter into the haram of Imam Rida alayhi salam. They come to the Masjid al-Gohar. Shooting, the walls are destroyed, people are hurt, people are killed. And he issues orders. Those people who have written to me in opposition to my ban of hijab need to be arrested. But he said, out of 8, arrest only 7. Leave Sheikh Murtada Ashtiani, don't touch him. He's too big. It will create a backlash. So all these 7 were arrested. Sheikh Murtada Ashtiani's remains. He continues it till he reverses the ban. But that is Sheikh Murtada, Ayatollah Sheikh Murtada Ashtiani. He is narrating this incident about Abul Fadl. He's saying, my Ustad Sheikh Khalili narrated this incident to me. That he had a friend by the name of Sheikh Jalil. So Ayatollah Ashtiani's Ustad is narrating this incident from his friend. So you understand how authentic it is in the eyes of Ayatollah Ashtiani for him to narrate this incident. Sheikh Jalil says, understand this. Ajab this is. It could be a masab also. But Abbas is again with masab. Yeah. Then Hussain says, Alan and Qasr al-Dhari. So, Ayatollah Ashtiani, Sheikh Jalil is saying now. He's saying, I had gone, and I'm going to put it in pieces so that you can link it up together. He's saying, I entered into Karbala having gone to some place and had come for ziyarat. Now Sheikh Jalil was living in Najaf. Says, I was musharraf, I was honored enough to do the ziyarat of Karbala. I entered into Karbala. So the day I entered into Karbala, I was very tired. So I went to my Musafir Khana and went to sleep. Now before he goes to sleep, there is an event that takes place that Sheikh Jalil comes to know after he gets up. So right now he's saying, I went to sleep and I see a dream. But before I tell you the dream and how it works out in real life, let me give you a brief background. In Najaf, there was a family, a tribe by the name of Al-Kubba family. One member of the Kubba family, this was a very affluent family. One member was a businessman, very affluent, very philanthropic. He was a philanthropist. So people knew him in Najaf. He had a son, only one son. His wife was an Alawiya. It so happened that his son falls sick. And sick to an extent that the deterioration was such that he reaches the state of Maradul Maut. On the deathbed, ihtadara. The father up in arms in the sense that doesn't know what's happening, beats his chest, beats his head, pulls his hair. My only son, so much money I've got, I can't save him. Mother is a mother, matamacha. Beating her chest, what do I do? But Alawiya and and Karbala. Sorry, this is in Karbala. And in Karbala. So now this Alawiya, if you're on Karbala and you're Alawiya, and you have a problem, what do you do? Who do you go to? Abul Fadl. She goes to the haram. Now this is the time of night. Remember that person is, Sheikh Jalil has gone to sleep. This is just before. He doesn't know this, huh? This is after when the entire incident opens up. You can link up the entire scenario that takes place. So Sheikh Jalil has come to Karbala for ziyarat. He goes to sleep. He sees a dream. Before the dream, this happens. Background, the family of Al-Kubba. The Tajir, the businessman affluent. His son almost on the deathbed. His wife Alawiya. Realizes the son is dying. She says, where do I go? One option. Who? Babul Hawaij. The title of Babul Hawaij. Says Babul Hawaij. It's now night. She goes to the haram is locked. She tells the khadim, please let me stay over here Baytuta for the night. Staying the night in the haram. He says, no, we can't. We locked it. He says, I have to do it. He says, no, we can't. He says, do you know who I am? I'm Fulan's wife, and my son is on the verge of death. Oh, you're Fulan's wife. He's a muttaqi man, philanthropist. He helps the cause of Islam. Fulan. I'll have to speak to my supervisor. And your son is dying. Goes to the supervisor, this is the issue. He says, all right, open the door, ask her to go inside because it's very sensitive. She goes inside, they lock the door. Whole night, tawassul. Ya Abul Fadl, Ya Aba Fadl, Ya Bab al-Hawaj, give my son back to me. This is the precursor. Come to Sheikh Jalil. Sheikh Jalil says, I entered into Karbala for the ziyarat. From Najaf I came to Karbala for the ziyarat of Imam Hussain and Hazrat Abbas. Because it was night, I was tired, I could not go. I go to my Musafir Khan, I go to sleep. In my dreams, I see a dream. Now listen to this dream. He says, in my dreams, I'm seeing, and see how it corroborates in real life, yeah? In his dreams, he's saying that he's gone into the haram of Hazrat Imam Hussain alayhi salam. He's in the haram of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. In front of him is the dhari of Imam Hussain alayhi salam. He says, I entered, and he's telling, I entered the haram in my dream from the door that was nearest to the marqad of Habib ibn Madahir. All of us know it. Enters. There in front of me, dhari. But ajab bana. What I'm seeing over there is, around the dhari, from the floor to the skies, filled with angels. And right in the middle, I'm seeing a bench. And on the bench, one side is the Holy Prophet, one side is Amirul Mu'mineen. Ajab. What is happening? Ali, the Holy Prophet sitting. Says, as I was seeing what is happening, what am I seeing? Says, I saw an angel come and stand before the Holy Prophet, hands folded, formalities of salams and walaikum salam takes place. He says, Ya Rasulullah, I am the messenger coming from the haram of Abul Fadl. Now you know Bain al-Haramain, yeah? How much is the distance? Says, I've just come from the haram of Abbas. He sent me with a message for you, a request. He says, what is it? He says, Mawla is saying that there is this Alawiya whose son is dying. He wants you to pray to God to give that son shafaat and bring him back. He says, okay. He raises his hands. Who? The Holy Prophet. Abul Fadl. He raises his hands. Raising his hands, he closes his eyes, opens his eyes and says, tell Abbas that person's time is up. God says his decree is up. He cannot be given an extended life. Now Sheikh Jalil is watching this. The malak goes out. Says within a short time the same malak comes back again. The same malak comes back again. Sheikh Jalil is saying, I want to see what's happening. Again the malak goes, Ya Rasulullah, I passed your message, but Abul Fazl Mawla is saying, go and make another request to the Holy Prophet to pray to Allah to give shafaat because this Alawiya from our family has put her hopes upon me. He keeps crying out, Ya Bab al-Hawaj, Ya Abul Fadl. So the Holy Prophet, Sheikh Jalil said, the Holy Prophet raises his hands, prays, closes his eyes, opens his eyes. The time's up. Nothing can be done. God has said, his time has been decreed. He goes. The malak goes back. Sheikh Jalil says, now I'm seeing a flurry of activity. The angels all of a sudden begin to move aside. A corridor is made. And what do I see? I see himself, Abul Fadl, coming in the haram of Imam Hussain. And he says, I saw, you understand, Sheikh Jalil is a friend of Sheikh Khalili, who is the teacher of Sheikh Murtada Ashtiyani. He says, I saw Abul Fadl coming in the same state that he was there in Karbala. Head to toe drenched in blood, no hands. He comes and stands before the Holy Prophet. He says, Ya Rasulullah, your Abbas is standing before you. That Alawiya, the whole night she is now praying to me. She's put her hopes. She's been telling me, Ya Abul Fadl, you are Bab al-Hawaj. You are the door of Allah from which He grants the hajat. I come to you as your daughter to ask for my son. Will you turn me back empty-handed when I've been calling you my entire life Bab al-Hawaj? He says, Ya Rasulullah, I have come to you personally. Prophet says, I've spoken, I've prayed, the result is this. Abul Fazl says, if that is the case, then raise your hands once more, Ya Rasulullah, and tell Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Abbas with absolute humility is now folding his cut hands and praying to him that either he gives shifa to that son or he takes away the laqab of Bab al-Hawaj from me. Sheikh Jalil says, as soon as he said this, I saw tears in the eyes of the Holy Prophet. All along, when the first 2 times the angel had come, he raised his hands and began to pray. Now that Hazrat Abbas has come, it is now asking him, he stands up. And now he's not just praying himself. He turns to Ali and says, Ali, stand up, join me and help me in prayers. Raise your hands so that both of us pray. Both of them raise their hands. Raise their hands and pray to God. Allah, this is what Abul Fadl Abbas is saying. Says Sheikh Jalil says, hardly had the dua of the Holy Prophet not completed that he saw an angel descend from the skies. Ya Rasulullah, inna Allah yuqri'uka salam. He is sending you his salams. And he said, tell Abbas, he is so dear to me that I'm willing to change my decree, but I'm not willing to take away the laqab of Babul Hawaij from him. Ask him to go to his haram. Tell that Alawiya, that son of yours has been given shafa. Up to the day of judgment, Abbas, you will remain Babul Hawaij. Sheikh Jalil said, I saw this, I got up. And I got up, it was time for Sahar. The whole night. It matches what Hazrat Abbas says. The whole night that Alawiya has been praying to me. He goes, he knows the person. Because the man was a philanthropist, well known. In the night, it is Sahara, it's still namaz subh, no time, not to you. He goes to the house, knocks at the door is open, goes inside. What does he say? Kuhram. Man is like a mad person, insane. This side to that side, senseless, doesn't know what is happening. What is it? My son is dying, I can't save him. He's almost dead, I think. I can't do anything for him. My wife is in the haram of Babul Hawaij, Abul Fadl. I don't know what to do. This Sheikh Jalil says, hold on, let's go and see, because I've seen something that I feel is not just a dream. He says, what do you say? He says, let's go and see, because I feel that your son has been given shifa. Both of them from the Sahan enter the room. When they enter the room, what do they see? They see the son is now sitting on the bed as if nothing has happened to him. And as soon as he sees his father, the father rushes to him, cuddles him up, embraces him. The son says, Baba, I'm hungry, can you give me food? Food was got to him. Sheikh Jalil says he was eating his food as if ka'illam yakun shay'an madhkura, as if nothing had happened to him. This is Abul Fadl Abbas. And this now we need to realize. This is the asr, one of the sir of the asrar of Allah. You never know what is in Abul Fadl that God says, my ruling, I'm willing to change, but laqab of Babul Hawaij that remains with Abbas up to the day of judgment. Tonight is the night of Babul Hawaij. If that Alawiya could have got something from him, come on. These are Kareemum and Awlad al-Kiram, sitting over here, hearts turning when the name of Abbas comes, tears swelling up in our eyes. You think he's not noticing it? Of course he's noticing it. Let's pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. With the wasila of Hazrat Abul Fadl Abbas, O Allah, accept our attendance and our amal for tonight out of love for Abul Fadl Abbas. Allah, by the sake of Hazrat Abul Fadl Abbas, all those people who have every sort of legal and shari'i hajat, grant them through the wasila of Babul Hawaij. Allah, those who are sick by the wasila of Babul Hawaij, give them shifa kamil and ajal. Allah, those who are having problems, may the problems be warded away by the barakat of Abul Fadl Abbas. Oh Allah, by the sake of the cut hands of Abbas, forgive all our sins, whether they be gunahi kabira or gunahi saghira. Allah, grant us tawfiq that when we die, on our tongue we say, Ya Hussein, Ya Ali, Ya Babul Hawaij. Afzalus Salam.
أحسن صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. Few announcements to go through before we continue with the program. Monday 7th of March is the Wiladat Eve of Imam Zain al-Abidin alayhi salam. The program will commence at 7:30 p.m. with Salat al-Maghribain and Majlis by Muallim Ghulam Baslaka. Thursday 10th March, Jumeirah program to commence at 7:30 p.m. with Salatul Maghribain, Majlis by Muhammad Habib Mukhtar Ali. SJ announcement. Stanmore Jaffries are excited to announce the return of the International Marhaba Sports Festival for ladies and girls this summer. The Rackets Festival will take place on 28th and 29th of May, followed by netball and football on 2nd and 3rd of July. Both events will be held at Aldenham School, and participants from across the globe are welcome. Keep an eye on the website sjladies.org and our social media at Stanmore Jaffries Ladies for registration details coming soon. We look forward to seeing you all there. Just a quick Harefield update. So yesterday we were at 9.5 million and we had a target of 500,000. Alhamdulillah, we raised 600,000 last night and we're on 10.1 million. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Thank you, Sheikh, for your Harefield plug as well. And thank you all who have donated so far, the old, the young, the businessmen, the volunteers who have taken part in trying to help us to push these donations to come in. We had 2,700 calls that had been done with over 200 volunteers who have stepped forward to try and help us. So please, as we celebrate the Wiladat of Abu Fadl Abbas alayhi salam, let us inshallah take some motivation from him, and we ask through his name that Allah helps us with this project. Please continue to donate at huj.at/donate Harefield. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Sunday, the 6th of March, 2022, the Jamaat takes note of the following engagements. Sister Fatima Zahra, daughter of Muhammad and Sajda Ibrahim of Nairobi, to Brother Hasnain, son of Muhammad, and Mehnaz Lakha. The Jamaat congratulates all parties on this happy occasion. Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, salawat. For our second qasida, can you please welcome Brother Imran Datu with the loud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
For Muhammad wa ali Muhammad, salawat. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ويا علی مدد. آپ سب کو ولادت مولا حسین، مولا عباس اور مولا سجاد علیہ السلام کی بہت بہت مبارک ہو. اور آج جو اصلی میں 3 شعبان ہے تو شروع کروں گا مولا حسین علیہ السلام کی ایک 2-3 شعر اور پھر مولا عباس علیہ السلام کی منقبت. آپ سب کی اجازت ہے تو بلند آواز سے بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات. سجدوں کا ایک عرش بنایا حسین نے، سجدوں کا ایک عرش بنایا حسین نے، سجدوں بنایا حسین نے. اور جنت کی ایک لکیر ابھر آئی ہاتھ میں، جنت کی ایک لکیر ابھر آئی ہاتھ میں. ہر کو جو اپنے سینے لگایا حسین نے. نعرہ حیدری. خدا مولا عباس کی اور مولا حسین کی جشن ہے، نعرہ حیدری لگا سکتے ہیں، اجازت ہے. نعرہ حیدری. علی مولا، علی مولا. حر کو جو اپنے سینے لگایا حسین نے، سجدوں کا ایک عرش بنایا حسین نے. توجہ ہے کہ 6 ماہ تک نعیم مقطع کا کہ 6 ماہ تک نعیم فقط جنگ کے لیے، 6 ماہ تک نعیم فقط جنگ کے لیے. اصغر کو مسکرانا سکھایا حسین نے. علی مولا کہ 6 ماہ تک نعیم فقط جنگ کے لیے، اصغر کو مسکرانا سکھایا حسین نے. سجدوں کا ایک عرش بنایا حسین نے، بنایا حسین نے. درود پڑھے گا محمد علی محمد پر. ماشاء بہت اچھی طرح سے آپ سن رہے ہیں. مولا سلامت رکھے آپ کو. کہ تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا وفا ہے غازی. ساتھ میں پڑھیے انشاءاللہ. تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا وفا ہے غازی. تو فاطمہ کی دعا، تیری وفا کیا وفا ہے. خود اپنے ہاتھوں سے فاطمہ نے، خود اپنے ہاتھوں سے فاطمہ نے، خود اپنے ہاتھوں سے فاطمہ نے تمہارا کرتا، تمہارا کرتا سیاہ ہے غازی. نعرہ حیدری. تو فاطمہ علی مولا علی مولا یا علی. تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا. ماشاءاللہ بلند آواز سے. تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا. جی. اور وہ جس کو سورج سمجھ رہے ہیں، وہ جس کو سورج سمجھ رہے ہیں، وہ جس کو سورج سمجھ رہے ہیں، تیرے علم کا، تیرے علم کا دیا ہے غازی. تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا. ماشاءاللہ. تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا. شے دیکھے گا کہ تبھی تو کرب و بلا نہ آیا. سوچئے کہ کون نہ آیا تھا اور کیوں. تبھی تو کرب و بلا نہ آیا، تبھی تو کرب و بلا نہ آیا، تبھی کبھی تو کرب و بلا نہ آیا یزید تجھ سے، یزید تجھ سے، یزید تجھ سے ڈرا ہے غازی، تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا ماشاءاللہ جی ہیں بلند آواز سے، تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا وفا۔ فرشتے کیسے سوال پوچھے، فرشتے کیسے سوال پوچھے، فرشتے کیسے سوال پوچھے، تیری جو لب پر، تیری جو لب پر ثنا ہے غازی، تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا وفا ماشاءاللہ، تو فاطمہ کی دعا مولا تک آواز، تیری وفا کیا وفا۔ حسین بچپن سے چومتے ہیں، 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 تمہارے ہاتھوں، تمہارے ہاتھوں میں کیا ہے غازی، تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا وفا۔ کہ حسین بچپن سے چومتے ہیں، حسین بچپن سے چومتے ہیں، حسین بچپن سے چومتے ہیں، تمہارے ہاتھوں، تمہارے ہاتھوں میں کیا ہے غازی، تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا۔ اور آخری شعر مقطع کا توجہ چاہتا ہوں کہ غلام سجاد آپ کا ہے، میر سجاد کا کلام ہے، مولانا کو سلامت رکھیں۔ غلام سجاد آپ کا ہے، غلام سجاد آپ کا ہے، غلام سجاد آپ کا ہے، کفن پہ اس کے، کفن پہ اس کے لکھا ہے غازی، تو فاطمہ کی دعا، علی مولا، تو فاطمہ کی دعا ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا۔ آخری بار بلند آواز سے، تو فاطمہ کی ہے غازی، تیری وفا کیا وفا ہے غازی۔ جزاک اللہ بر محمد و آل محمد صلوات۔
احسنت احسنت، صلوا علی محمد و آل محمد۔ One thing I just forgot to mention, brothers and sisters, if you have concerns over the Harefield project, which our natural people will, please speak to the volunteers. They and the EC members who are here, they know more about the project, so please do speak to them. Either one of two things will happen. Either you will understand and there may not be a misconception, or that we will open our eyes and we will see if there are any issues. So please do speak to the volunteers. They are spaced at the desks outside and on your way out as well. We'll finish with ziyarah followed by munajat. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء، السلام عليك يا حسن المجتبى، السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والحجة بن الحسن، عجل الله فرجه وسهل الله تعالى مخرجه وظهورك ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
Brothers, please be seated whilst munajat is being recited.
برائے تاجیل ظہور امام زمانہ باعث بلند صلوات.
صلی علی محمد و آل محمد.
ایک اور باعث بلند تر صلوات.
صلی علی محمد و آل محمد.
یا باب حوائج یا مولا، یا باب حوائج یا مولا، سقائے حرم رکھ لے نہ بھرم، ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں، سقائے حرم رکھ لے نہ بھرم، ہم در پہ تمہارے، اور تم بھی نہیں ہم کو ٹھکرانا، تم بھی نہیں ہم کو ٹھکرانا، ہم دنیا کے ٹھکرائے ہیں، سقائے حرم رکھ لے نہ بھرم، ہم در پہ تمہارے، رب سارے سہارے ٹوٹ چکے، ہمیں اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے، اب سارے سہارے ٹوٹ چکے، ہمیں اپنے پرائے لوٹ چکے،
تم اپنی پناہوں میں لے لو، ہم رن سے بہت گھبرائے ہیں، سقائے حرم رکھ لینا بھرم، ہم در پہ تمہارے، رشکوں کی زبان پہچانتے ہو، جو دل میں ہے وہ جانتے ہو، اشکوں کی زبان پہچانتے ہو، جو دل میں ہے وہ جانتے ہو، ہم کہہ نہیں سکتے تم سن لو، بس ہاتھوں کو پھیلائے ہیں، سقائے حرم رکھ لینا بھرم، ہم در پہ تمہارے، اور مولا 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 تم باب حوائج ہو، روزے پہ انہیں بھی بلوا لو، مولا تم باب حوائج ہو، روزے پہ انہیں بھی بلوا لو، غربت کے سبب جو آ نہ سکے، ہم ان کے عریضے لائے ہیں، سقائے حرم رکھ لینا بھرم، ہم در رب قبر سے پانی لپٹا ہے، سقائے سکینہ پیاسا ہے، اب قبر سے پانی لپٹا ہے، سقائے سکینہ پیاسا ہے، اب حشر تلک دریا سارے دینے کو سلامی آئے ہیں، سقائے حرم رکھ لینا بھرم، ہم در اور ایک جانب روزہ تمہارا ہے، شبیر کا روزہ ایک طرف، ایک جانب روزہ تمہارا ہے، شبیر کا روزہ ایک طرف، بین الحرمین آ کر ہم نے دامن اپنے پھیلائے ہیں، سقائے حرم رکھ لینا بھرم، ہم در دربار سخی عباس کا تھا، کچھ مانگنا تھا لازم مانگا، دربار سخی عباس کا تھا، کچھ مانگنا تھا لازم مانگا، لیکن یہ حقیقت بھی ہے قمر، ہم حاجت مانگنے آئے ہیں، سقائے حرم رکھ لینا بھرم، ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں، سقائے حرم رکھ لینا بھرم، ہم در پہ تمہارے آئے ہیں۔ سورۃ المبارکۃ الفاتحہ۔